off. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal, Patreon links in the info box below. As of 4 minutes ago, I was all buy me onesie, but people just jam-packed into the room. I think I can't see him anymore. I'm not on that screen. But I did see the beautiful Betty Van Velsen. Where are you?
I'm here in the shadows.
Good thing I looked down at the mute button and took you off. I said, oh no, I was screwing around with banana, voice meter banana, not the banana, my banana, but voice meter banana. And
which of the 3 bananas you mean?
Yeah, the 3, but I just ate a banana not too long ago. And then I got voice meter banana, but I had it on the wrong screen. So right towards the end of the introduction, I said, where is my banana?
Don't play with your banana.
Exactly. And I said, oh crap, where is it? Let me get it up. There we go again. Oh man.
Every show, John. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but you just run into this kind of stuff. Then
how?
Just by breathing. Yeah. And then we got Adam. I heard Adam in there right before I had to go and put you on mute, and he was stuffing his face with pulled pork from Alabama.
Still doing it.
As far as
you can listen to him. Go ahead, Adam.
It's more stuff now than when you last spoke to me.
So you got pulled pork. Is it a sandwich?
It's in cobs, rolls, cheese, barbecue sauce, and roasted onions.
Nice.
Your wife made that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a staple?
Yes.
It's one of my favorite snack things. Yeah.
Oh, they're little snacky things.
Well, no, it's when you get 2 of them, it fills your belly. But, yeah.
What's the circumference?
That's what I call a proper tea.
What's the circumference?
About 4 or 5 inches. Oh, circumference. Oh man, I'm not going to estimate. 15 inches.
All right, what's the dang diameter?
About 5 inches.
But that's a sandwich.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, that's not an hors d'oeuvre.
It's not a proper tea. Not a proper sit-down tea, is it? Where you have... It doesn't require a knife and fork.
I don't think that's required. Betty, a knife and fork is not required for tea.
Well, how about a cup?
A cup is required for tea, yes. But a knife and fork, you don't need a knife and fork. That's not what makes up a dinner. It could be along with the dinner to help you with dinner, but I don't think officially dinner requires a knife and fork. That is to say, that is to say,
you do.
That is to say, if you don't have a knife and fork, you could still have a dinner. You could just eat with your meat hooks.
Yeah, that is less and low.
That is less a low?
Yeah, so no etiquette.
Okay, we're not talking about etiquette now. We're talking about what constitutes dinner.
Yeah, well, you can also say that about lunch and breakfast.
That's very true.
And meat hooks in the food.
True.
I remember one time I went to my mother-in-law, or gonna be mother-in-law back then, and we were eating just bread for dinner at that night or evening, and I asked for a knife and a fork, and they looked very, very strangely at me. And I said, "Well, please, I don't want to eat my food with meat hooks."
Why? Because you didn't wash your hands?
No, because I don't want to touch it. I don't want to make them dirty.
How can they get dirty if they're clean and you're... Wait a second, let's move back. You're just eating bread?
Well, if you have, for example, jelly on there, or butter or whatever, and it gets onto your hands, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to have that.
I got you. I can understand that.
Yeah. And if you have these people that do that, right? You have these in the other countries where they have They sit down on the ground. Also, that's something impossible for me to do. Would ask for a chair, but I don't think that will have them. And then they have these bowls and stuff, and then they have some bread, and they mix it with everything, and everybody's touching the same bowl. Yikes! Right? I don't like that. I don't like that. The whole juicy stuff getting over my hands, and
What
hated it.
about some bread and some olive oil and some garlic? Heat up the bread a little bit and then dip the bread in the olive oil. I love that.
Well, is it your own bowl that you're dipping it in, or is it anybody else that does it?
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, when we went, no, I wasn't the only one.
Yeah. So people eat something of their bread, and then they dip it again into the sauce or whatever.
That's double dipping. Remember George Costanza at that funeral? He was double dipping his chip, and he got called out.
Yeah, so that's a no in America?
No, that was just for the show. It was freaking hilarious, but it sounds like you got issues with that.
Yeah, I do. I don't like saliva or somebody's paws in my food.
Yeah, I can understand that. I got you. All right. Yeah. Well, some of us are more refined than others.
Well, yeah, there you go.
All right. So what else is on the agenda? But I know Adam's still stuffing his face because he ain't saying a damn word.
You need to say something to Brian. Maybe Brian has specific things for him.
I didn't even know Brian was in here. How's the potato factory, Brian?
The insane factory. Is that what you said? Hey, how are things? Oh, I'm with Betty. I'm not into other people's saliva unless it's the saliva of someone I want to exchange it with. Other than that, I'm not interested in other people's saliva or their hands in my food. No, definitely not.
So when you have potato wedges, let's say you have, let's say you have. In fact, I just had some potato wedges just the other day. They're delicious, by the way. Let's say that potato wedges. They're the appetizer. You're at dinner with 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and they had the ketchup and mayonnaise in 2 big bowls, and you're taking your potato wedges and you're sharing that dip. If you share the dip, that you guys you're not acquiescing to that.
Well, if it's your close people, like if you're there with your family, I mean, they're your family, your partner, your children, you're not going to have a problem with that. If it's your brother or whatever, people who are your family. Now, like once they're known for being hygienic, right? Like family members, like some family members you don't know. But it's like, you're not going to have a problem. But if it's a lot of people and you don't know what's going on with them and, their fingers up their nose and then they're putting it into the mayonnaise, you're going to have an issue there.
So you come prepared with a hygiene survey. And before they can touch one of those friggin' wedges, it's got to be filled out and then sent to the appropriate office for adjudication. Is that what you're saying?
No, he assesses them there just like that. Right?
He said, no. I'd have to question some of my family members. I'd be questioning those.
Well, you know your close family, so you wouldn't have to.
Yeah, that's why I'm questioning. Yeah, because I know.
well, if you haven't made you sick yet, then you'll be okay. Do you know what I mean? But it's the strangers or the people who aren't living in your house with you or you didn't live in a house with. They're the people that you have to watch out for because you don't know what they are up to.
Understood. I think I'm catching it. Okay, Adam.
I'm kind of with the guys on this, QE.
Okay.
Don't mind family. I fucking hate buffets. You go to like Disneyland or took the kids when they're younger and you're just looking at all the kids with their snot-ridden faces. Your food before you can get there. I don't eat. I hate stuff like that.
Before you can get there, that's exactly right.
The little git, he's picked that cupcake up, left a bogey on it, and then
left a bogey.
Booger eating freaking kids.
They're booger
hanging out
eaters.
his nose. You know what I mean? And yeah. Nah, I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of buffet food.
Nathan said he agrees he wouldn't share food with Brian.
He totally would.
I haven't heard you in a couple seconds, Brian. Where you been?
Just things get in the way and I can't join the show and different things. But I'm around and still listening afterwards or whatever. So I'm always around, always around.
All right, so we can't talk about you on the other. I was gonna bring you out, but I was too hungry, man. And I ate breakfast without a fork and a knife, by the way.
No, you can bring me up and talk about me anytime you want.
All right,
It's
thank
totally
you.
fine.
Do you eat your eggs also with your hands?
No, I had it on an English muffin. My wife makes this. It's a personal name for it, but it's outstanding. It's not a poached egg, but she puts it inside. It's not a long egg in diameter. It's got this plastic. It's sort of plastic that she cooks it in. You pile the egg up, and it cooks in, and it's kind of thick. And then she toasts the English muffin. She throws a couple slices of bacon on it, little mayonnaise. Look the heck out.
Yeah, but then things drop down, don't they?
No, surprisingly, they don't. Now, if you overcook the muffin, then there's a possibility. But if you toast it just so that it's toasted, but it's a little flexible, surprisingly, nothing falls out. The cheese doesn't drip. I don't know what it is because I've been doing it because I'm well aware of that, right? So because I have my finger ready because I always wash my hands right before breakfast, and I always have that one finger ready. It's on my left hand, to scoop all that stuff up.
I've got a beard, and that sounds like a very messy project.
But
to do it without a knife and fork.
But in this case, Adam, it's not. So according to Betty, that's not a meal, though. Correct? That's not breakfast.
No, see, I didn't say it's not a meal. I didn't say it's not me tea. I said it's not a proper tea. And to distinguish the difference, sit down, knife and fork, at a table, and nothing on, not doing out, not just eating. That is me tea, but it's not proper tea.
I said, is your name Betty?
Yes.
That was weak as shit, man.
That's just bad.
What was that? Yes.
That was my attempt at a transgender Dutchman.
Funny, man. Yes. All right, so what we got on deck for today?
You must know you're the one with the content.
That's right. I got constant substance, constant content.
We have Neil here. Neil, hey Neil.
How you doing, Betty? What's happening? At least you say hello. QE just ignores me.
I did not ignore you. I'm not in Discord. I am in Discord, but I'm not in Discord, if you know what I mean. I see little names in my screen. So I'm sorry I missed you. Let me go to Discord so I can acknowledge the people in here. We got Brian, Neil, Quantum Eraser, Rayleigh, whatever, Criterion, FE, Betty, Sittings, and the Adam Meekin. So I've acknowledged everyone. Now we're good?
Hi, QE.
Can I go back to work now?
Sure.
You didn't say hi to Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Good.
Oh, he did. I'm just replying with a hello right back at you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. Hello.
I think that hello is that not English? Hello.
No, it's Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hello.
That's from the English. Isn't it, Adam?
No, I think it's either Dutch or Flemish, isn't it? Something like that.
Flemish.
Yeah, it's one of those antiquated languages.
The Flemish cap. That's an antiquated language, Flemish. Is that like the Flemish cap?
No, Flemish is like also Dutch.
Is it?
Yeah. Actually, the Belgium, where Flemish is like a people group that also speak Dutch, they speak better Dutch than the Dutch do. That gave a pause. Too funny.
Oh, Nathan, go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say that Belgium is probably the strangest country I've ever been in.
What, Belgium?
Yeah, it's a weird place.
How's it weird? I like the cobblestone streets. I was in Belgium.
Because it's completely made up.
What do you mean made up?
Like how? Somebody, like in Narnia, they went through a closet and then they came to Belgium? What?
Yeah. Show me Belgium through time.
Belgium.
Name, other than Belgium being formed and sticking a European Parliament, name me Belgium through history. Name a bit of Belgique history.
Well, they were part of Holland, right? Of the Netherlands. So many of these painters, like Rubens, for example, they were coming from Belgium.
That's cultural appropriation of the Dutch. Name me something Belgian, other than chocolate, which is what they're famous for. A couple of waffles.
Fries are very known for being good.
Point being,
and we have that guy peeing all the time, which is a sort of a fountain, really, in Brussels.
It's a construct of
and then you have the Atomium, that was a sort of a same project as the Eiffel Tower.
Rob,
you know what the Atomium was? I need to get you a picture of it, I think.
You do. Rich R in chat says the Dutch invented making your date pay for her meal.
No, that's going American.
I like it.
That way around. You know that?
Too funny.
When I drove into Antwerp for the first time, because I used to live just on the border in near a place called Putte, which is very South Holland. Betty you know where Putte is, near Berkham op Zoom. And like I was like 15 minutes from Antwerp. So when I eventually did drive into Belgium, to see Antwerp, it was the most bizarre place ever. Now, this is how I remember it, right? I could not get to the city centre of Antwerp. They kept on bringing me around. There was no way to get into the centre. It wasn't possible, right? So I don't know if it's only doesn't really exist, because I couldn't get there. And it was like, you'd see a bakery, right? Then a bank. Then there's a window with a red light and a girl standing there naked in the window, right? Then there's a post office.
You have a sandwich while
then there's another bakery or shop. And then there's some other thing. And then another post office. And then a girl in a window with no clothes on with a red light. It's just like, there's no... What is going on here? And this is just like a normal street where there's businesses. That's what I remember. It was bizarre. I know I'm scratched with laughing. It's like, what is going on here?
I assure you.
It's like, I think I just popped down to the post office, and while I'm going there, I'm going to walk past the window with a naked girl in there, right? With a red light on in there. It's like, what is going on in this place?
Well,
it was bizarre.
Get yourself some
Everywhere was... Go on, Betty, sorry.
Ryan, at least you can get yourself some cash and some bread before you go to that woman.
No, I'm not going into that woman. No offense to them, but I'm not going in there. But the beautiful look, I mean, not they were beautiful looking girls and everything, but I don't go in there. But the thing about it is that it was bizarre. It's just like, so when you send your child to get a loaf of bread at the bakery, on the way there, they get to walk past this window where there's a naked girl in a red light. It's like, what is going on? That's what I remember from Antwerp. It was hilarious.
I did not have that kind of luck as a kid, and my friend did get stuck where his parents had to go rescue him out of there because he could not get out.
Of Antwerp?
Yes.
It's a bizarre place.
He was a Jamaican guy, and he thought he died and went to heaven. He went through all his money, and he comes from a well-to-do family. They had to go fly there and bring him back home.
Yeah, it get problematic. Sorry, Q.
When were you in Belgium, Brian?
It'd be the late 90s, QE.
Okay.
98, I'd say. Something like that.
I did go through Belgium, and I was in Antwerp in September of '84.
Called Irish National Service. You know, the Irish get to 18 and they have to travel the world. The family fund them as they go around the world, making sure they've got tales of every freaking city that you mentioned they've been. Irish National Service.
I posted some pictures of.
Yeah, we're expected to go off and see things and do stuff, and not stay at home on a little island.
Where'd you post?
Brilliant.
Hold on a second. Where'd you post these pictures, Betty?
In the BALLBUSTERS text. Does anybody hear me, by the way?
Yeah, sorry, Betty.
They did
Because
hear you, but they were blowing you off.
Like being accused by Arwin about interrupting people, but if I don't get a word in, then I will interrupt.
That's right.
In the middle of my racist insult to Brian, though. That's why.
Because guys always overtalk women, always.
Here we go with the stereotypes. All right, what are we looking at here? We got some kind of balls. It's not. This isn't clear.
This is atomium. Atoms.
Okay.
It was a similar project as the Eiffel Tower. You had sort of a what is it? A sort of a fanfare or whatever. I don't know how you call that in English, but the Eiffel Tower was left there by a project that they sort of moved to every other country, and this is a leftover of it.
Let me see.
They left it to sort of rot for the longest of times, and then suddenly they saw the value again in it, and they polished it up a little.
You always give me small photos, and
Yeah, I'm sorry. It comes from just the internet, you know.
Yep, and they're not clear either. So, I think we got one more. 1 second.
Well, let me give you the name for it.
Good.
There you go. Maybe you can Google it.
Open in browser, and this is not good either. Okay, what's the name?
Yeah, I wrote it down because you might not know.
So I got to go. You can't say it?
Yeah, ATOMEON.
I'm going to have to see it.
I think that's the Dutch spelling. It's atomium.
Atomian. So that's what it's called. Where is this?
Brussels.
I never seen this.
It's crap. That's why.
I know you.
It's like a bit of a Disney fairground thing. So when did they build it?
When did they build it, Betty?
Yeah,
years ago. It's like,
come on, am I the encyclopedia of Belgium or what? What?
58. I thought it was the 60s. Construction start 57.
57.
Opened in 58. See how cheap? That's how long it took. Just knocked it up. Here you go. Interesting. So, it was part of. Whenever they found a city, this is what I'm saying. They're making stuff from nothing. Brussels. See, they got to try and put Brussels on the map because basically, Belgium was just a toilet between the First and the Second World War. They bombed the shit out of it. So whatever was there, we don't know. So they have a World's Fair there in 1958. This is part of the crap that they build to construct a city.
No, it wasn't. The freaking architecture is old already, over 100 years. Come on.
Atomium is a landmark modernist building in Brussels, Belgium, originally constructed as the centrepiece of the 1958 Brussels World Fair. In 1957, opened in 58.
Yes, that's just the atomium.
Yeah.
But Brussels is not known only for that.
Oh, it's got some amazing buildings that make no sense.
Yeah, I know. But I think that Brussels is more also the French-speaking people that live there. and it's more of a mix. I think the mix of French speaking people there is more than the Dutch ones.
I
I
feel
think Antwerpen is more Dutch.
I feel a lot of negativity coming from Adam towards Belgium. So get the positive things for Belgium, Betty. I mean, but what are the Belgian waffles? The waffles come from there or something?
I told you the fries.
The fries? They got a special type of fry?
Yeah, the Belgian fries are known for being good, they say.
Is that it?
Yeah, it was not my experience, by the way. Oh, and you have Gent and Brugge. It's two little villages that are known for their beautiful architecture and also their beautiful cathedrals.
Cobblestone streets. I think we went down this path one time, right? I think
moats and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen those fries. Now that you say that, yeah, you were talking about those fries, but you got the short end of the stick on that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I went there for a travel with my students. How do you say that?
It was like a school trip.
Yeah, school trip. That's the word I was looking for. And we went to Gent and Brugge, and then both of these cities, and we had to do a sort of like a sort of a tour. We were sort of separated into little groups and do a sort of tour, and then answer these questions. And the ones that have the most good answers on the questions, they win, right? Sort of that sort of motif.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that we saw a lot of beautiful architecture and nice old houses and stuff. And then we wanted to have some fries because Belgium is known for that. We got these overly greasy, sort of sloppy fries.
Oh, I know the ones, the soggy ones that bend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like those. That's nasty, especially undercooked. They're soggy and they're greasy. Get that. I'll tell you, I'll mule kick that right out of there.
It was almost like the potatoes said, well, let's get us to have the most oiliness that we can muster. And that's what we got. Ugh. Yeah.
So, and obviously, right, it's mayonnaise on the fries. They're not putting any ketchup on there.
Oh, yes, also.
On some, really?
Yeah, mayonnaise and ketchup and some onion sprinklings things.
I don't think I don't think I got any when I was in Belgium. So I wasn't there for all that long. We kind of drove through it. We had to pick up our equipment in Antwerp. So I wasn't there for all that long, but we had to negotiate, like Brian said. I think it is kind of difficult to find your way around. I immediately got that impression when I was there. So I was lucky I was in a convoy.
Yeah,
that's not difficult. Sorry, Betty.
I had one time I had to go to someone in Belgium near Antwerp and a place near it, and you have usually have these rings around cities, right? You have a ring around it so that you can go around the city or move around the city a little bit to get to your entry into the city.
Yes.
But Antwerp doesn't have that. Yeah, it's sort of like 3/4. It's okay, but then it stops. Basically.
That's what Brian was. That's what Brian was saying, right? That's exactly what Brian said. Isn't there a secret passageway like into the city, the heart of the city?
Probably, but they keep that a secret. And one time we had to go somewhere and visit someone or some sort of walk that we had to do with some dogs that we had, and we wanted to go there. And you have these numbers of these exits, right? So exit number, and we had to have, let's say it was on 101, and we would count and then said, oh, we have to get an exit down here, right? But they can't count in Belgium.
Did they skip? Did they skip numbers?
Yeah, we couldn't find it. We couldn't find the exit number. So we went round and was it like, yeah, it was really, really bad. Eventually, that was before we had the phones were there and the Google Maps was there.
Right.
Might be more easier now.
Right.
I suppose.
Yes.
But and we came late. Of course, we came late. Yep. Just in time for
Just in time for what?
dinner.
Just in time for dinner. Fork, knife. Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, sorry for stepping on you, Betty. Yeah, that was my problem. It's not that you couldn't find your way around. It's that going around is all you could do. You could never make it to the city centre, right? I actually forgot, right, that at this point, what happened to us, there was me and a cousin of mine and one of our friends in this van, is that we had to get escorted out of there by the police back to the Dutch border. So we never got to get to the city centre because we couldn't find out where we were going. The Dutch police saw that we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and they said, follow us. And they just knew where we had come from. They knew we had come from Holland. And they must have known from the plates on the van or something. And they knew we were probably not from Holland, but we came from there. So they just brought us back to the border and pointed that way towards Holland.
That way.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't understand English too.
I'd be still there
Sure you
if it
didn't get
wasn't
there,
for them.
Brian.
Sorry, Adam?
It's making sure you didn't get to the city centre, you see. They're the city centre police. Any unwanted non-local people aren't allowed in there.
Yeah, well, it worked because I never found it.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
that was refreshing.
But it's difficult, I think, to live in a two-language country.
Now, how
But
many
it's-
languages do they have?
Yours?
French and Dutch.
French and Dutch in Belgium?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Brian manages it.
in Switzerland they have more. They have French, Italian, and German. It's even more.
Go ahead, Adam.
Say Brian manages it. It's not flippant. Go to the west coast of Ireland and they won't be speaking English.
That's why they maybe didn't understand him and brought him right back to Dutchland.
So what are they speaking? Piker.
Brian, help me out here.
Is it Piker?
Oh, it's Gaelic, isn't it?
Is it Gaelic?
Yeah, it's
Well, yeah, some parts of where I live, it's purely Gaelic. They can't speak English, but very likely they just speak Gaelic to you. And if you can't speak Gaelic, you're kind of
Outside.
drop shit creek. Yeah, they can make the decision not to speak English to you if they want. They just speak Gaelic. So some places they call it Gaeltalk. Some places are what's known as a Gaeltalk, which means that it's purely Gaelic only. The problem with Ireland is that English is different from county to county. So from place to place, English and how it's used is different as well. So just because you understand English from Tipperary doesn't mean you're going to understand it from Cork or from Cavan, right? Because they're going to be.
No, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Let's pull up Ireland on here. I'm gonna pull
Where
up.
does Gaelic come from, Brian?
Yeah.
Sorry, Betty.
What is the historic thing of Gaelic language then?
Where does it come from?
Yeah.
Well, that's a strange one. It's supposed to. It's supposed to be extremely old. Believe it or not, there's actually a very old connection between Gaelic and Albanian. Whatever way, if a linguistic expert or whatever they call them, people who are experts in language, there's actually, whatever way it's formulated, that Albanian, I only found this out from a relative of mine, because he met an old Albanian guy who told him all about it, that we don't know anything about it, but the Albanians know that there's an old connection between the Albanian language and the Gaelic language. So I don't know. I know it's very old, but I don't know its origins. But I do know what was the other? There was some other language, and it was an extremely old language, and Gaelic and it were like cousins or sisters or something like that. I can't remember. No, it wasn't Hebrew. It was something older than Hebrew.
Oh, well, all the old. So yeah, you can cite any of the Semitic languages. The similarities between Gaelic and the Semitic languages.
Very interesting.
Yeah, well,
I got a map of Ireland up. Now, you don't have to tell us where you exactly are there, Brian, because you know there's some crazies out here. But I got Ireland right here. Where are you from? Where's the vicinity? North, south, east, west, southwest, southeast?
From Waterford. From Waterford. I don't mind. People already know online. I'm from Waterford.
Waterford. So
South.
you're down here, like southeast.
Yeah, exactly. Southeast. Yeah, yeah. The sunny southeast, they call it. We get more sun than the rest of the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is not much.
Which isn't much.
Too late.
I'm looking at the Black Stairs Mountains.
Yeah, there's lots of our mountains. Our mountains, though, like what we would call mountains, is not what you would call mountains. Our mountains would be hills in comparison to what you'd find in Utah or somewhere. Like,
Yeah,
they are like hills. They're not. I think the highest mountain is, I don't know what highest. It's only a small little thing, really. Our highest mountain. So yeah, the mountain ranges are lovely, but they're not mountains as you would know them. You know, not mountains in that way.
so how high?
I think only a couple of 1,000 feet
Okay.
at most. So I think 3,000 feet at most or something like that above sea level is the highest, something like that. I could be a little bit wrong. But it's not like 14, 16,000 feet type mountains you have. It's
Right.
like I flew over, even flying over Utah, I could see how massive the mountains were. And that was from looking straight down at them, which means they don't even have depth.
Right.
But even at that, I could see just how big from the shadows.
Right. Well, we got the Wicklow Mountains on the west coast. They look a little bit more, I would say, they're emphasized a little bit more here than the Black Stairs.
Yeah, they'd be pretty big. The Wicklow Mountains, yeah, they're pretty big. That's where the army trains, so they must be pretty big there.
Okay.
I'm not sure where the highest mountain is. It could be in the Wicklow Mountains is where the highest mountain in the country is. Not 100% sure.
What
So
about?
Well, go on, sorry.
Go ahead,
I
buddy.
said no snow on the mountains, so you can't ski or something like that.
Nah, we don't get enough of that kind of weather, and we don't have mountains big enough to end up with constant snow on them. If you know what I mean, you'd never have. You'd need to have something like they have in the Alps and that, and around Europe, that big at least to be able to hold any kind of consistent snow. So skiing is never done here. No.
Is that
in
where
the mountains?
in the Wicklow Mountain? Is that where the potato trees are? Wicklow.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Oh, all right. What about McGillicuddy's Reeks? That's I like the cut of that jib. McGillicuddy's Reeks down here. What about down here in the southwest? That looks like some beaches and stuff down in here, huh?
Is that Kerry? Would that be West Cork and Kerry area? That would be. Yeah, they have loads and loads of really beautiful coastline there. Actually, Waterford's coastline is unique. Our own coastline is actually brilliant. Our own coastline, but a lot of people don't know about it because it's the west of Ireland gets most of the tourism. But yeah, around Kerry, all in around there is fantastic. There's no end of coves and beaches and everything else because you can see from how it looks that it's not like one kind of pretty solid orientation. If you know what I mean, it's all these little toes.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Not like just straight like Waterford. We want some character, so we're going down to here to McGillicuddy's Reeks.
Well, what Waterford does have in the Cumber Mountains is we have a magic road.
You do?
Yeah. A magic road. Listen to this, right? Now, I haven't been on it. I wasn't on this road since I was a child. But you stop on this road, and its grade is down way, right? So your bonnet of your car is faced up the way, right? And the grade, so the slope is down, right? But the car rolls up. They don't know why.
What the hell?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times on videos. I didn't know that was there too. Some glitches.
Yeah, your car rolls uphill.
I'm gonna need to see that shit. Sorry, man.
Yeah. Just Google Waterford's Magic Road, and you'll get some stuff about it. No, I haven't been on it since I was a kid, but I do remember stopping at someone. I don't know, maybe me father or something. Stopped the car. We definitely appear to be going uphill, and then the car starts rolling uphill in neutral.
Strange. No. No.
Yeah, I've seen it in video. What is that road again? What was it?
The Magic Road, they call it in Waterford. The Magic Road.
The Magic Road in Waterford. WATER. So Whiskey Alpha Tango Echo Romeo Foxtrot Oscar Romeo Delta. Waterford.
Yeah. Okay. How does the magic work? Does anybody know? Often referred as the Mahon Falls Magic Road due to its proximity to the mighty Mahon waterfall. This place is a little bit mental. In a nutshell, if you stop safely on the magic road in Waterford with the handbrake off, your car will appear to roll backwards up the hill. Will appear, or does it?
Good point.
Okay. What do you do with?
It's not called the Magic Road for nothing.
If you stop the car and let the handbrake off, the vehicle will mysteriously and eerily roll up the hill. We joke you not.
Gravity.
Oh, brother.
Well, first, anti-gravity.
Go ahead, Betty. You can pull up a video and then confirm that, because I'm not going to search for it because it sounds a little bit hokey to me.
No, I think it's here. You want to have a link of it?
Not really, but go ahead.
Oh my goodness, why doesn't it do that? Maybe I did wrong.
That's a Google one.
Yeah, I got it from Google.
Where magic?
Oh. Let me do this here. Oh, of course it won't give you. Oh yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Oh, they do it with a French car, I think.
All right, hold on a second.
I don't think that will be copyright on that one.
Copyright on which one?
The
on
new Grand
on
Wagoneer.
the video.
With Macintosh.
I don't think it will be. Just some random guy, I think.
Paula McClarney. All right, hold on.
Wait.
Hold on. All right, we got to check this out. This looks kind of old. It's only 240 quality, Betty.
Does it matter? You wanted to have it a little bit like.
Hold on a second. I think I want to have it a little bit like clear.
At least you have some visual of it.
That doesn't help my viewers.
It doesn't help you either.
All right, see, now this is clear. See, Divergent Droid is all over this. Magic Road. Now, I'm seeing some sheep.
Oh my god. Look at the
There's plenty
car.
of them.
I'm telling you. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to flick it over here. This is the one that Divergent Droid sent. So I'll wait for a couple seconds.
Oh, of course you would. Don't use my stuff.
I still got yours in the back just in case. Okay. This one is a little bit more clear. Let's get a bigger picture. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. You guys see it yet?
No.
These are either sheep or lassies. Can't tell.
Oh, there's plenty of sheep.
I got hills and sheep and a tree.
And a tree. So you guys got it. So, okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to have the sound on it. I'll just hit play. Cars roll up the hill. Okay. What's he doing?
Where's the car?
Right there.
I don't see it yet.
No, it's quite a lag. There we go.
He's got his keys out. This might be a perspective thing. I think.
No, it's not.
What do you mean? No, it's not.
Because Adam said, Brian said, you see definitely the nose of the car dipping down, and you roll up the hill. Isn't that weird?
I don't. Let's go back a little bit. So,
And
Oh,
by the way, this is difficult to see how the road is. You
yeah.
have to be there yourself.
Yeah,
I
you
think.
have to. That's what I was saying, Betty. It's a little
Yeah.
bit of perspective thing.
As Brian explained it, your nose of your car is either up or down, and then it does the opposite as what you expect it to do.
Huh.
That's weird.
Okay, I'm gonna play it again. I wanted you guys to catch up. So what he's trying to say is he got his keys in his car, and he's driving. See, I needed some background information here.
Yeah, maybe they say this while when you mute them, right? But they might have some.
All right, here we go. Yeah, you want me to play it with the sound?
I have no idea. I think yes. Maybe they explain something.
All right.
Not that long.
They ain't explain squat. Okay. He turned his car off, took his keys out. There's no sound on this, by the way. No relevant sound. And he's... It does look like the car's going... Yeah, that's strange. I'd have to say.
You know the way the Celestials are a mystery, but it's kind of like that.
I've seen another video where in another place where they put a sort of a beam down and with a level on it, right, so that you can see if it was straight or not, or level or not, right, and then you could see that it was off, and then he would put a ball on the ground there, and it would go definitely the wrong way.
Okay, here's your video, Betty.
It looks like a car rolling backwards downhill to me. I don't see any uphill.
Yeah, that's because you can't see the whole road stuff.
He starts by driving off uphill, stops halfway up the hill, and then takes the handbrake off and it rolls back. That's all I've seen there.
Yeah, this isn't giving us too much. Now, this looks up. That looks uphill. It looks like he's going downhill.
It looks like it's rolling downhill.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
He's going up. He's coming towards you.
Nah.
Look at that. It's coming towards you.
Look, the road's coming from the top of the hill down.
Right.
Why
No,
would that road
down.
be coming up? Suddenly,
Unbelievable.
oh, it's flat. It's
Oh my god.
Adam, you're ruining the magic road. Will you stop?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Now that looks better.
Look at his nose is
That looks
up.
a
On
bit
that
better.
car. You see that?
Keep going, son. Oh, he's put his brakes on because it's starting to go uphill now, and all the momentum he's gained's gone. You need 3 Guinness to believe this.
It was pretty cool. Okay, no, I need to go there. This is some bullshit.
Well, get yourself a ticket and go see Brian
I'm telling you,
and his potato plant.
it's potato plant.
Plant.
It's potato tree, Betty.
Whatever.
Oh, wrong one.
There goes an.
All right. What are we going to do? Is this all? Oh, I think people showed up for the plane thing. I know that's why Brian and Adam suddenly appeared.
I didn't see the title, but I did send you a picture, a video of Rob's.
A video of Rob? Where?
In the Skype chat between me and you.
In the Skype? Why are you sending it in the Skype?
Sent it earlier. I was only good. I'd watched it and wanted to. I'll just put it there to remind me to mention it tonight.
Oh,
People haven't seen it.
okay. Does this have anything to do with our discussion?
Well, I don't know where the discussion's going, but it's to do with flight and radar, which was quite cool. So it's not directly flight, but it's to do with radar, how it works, and some bit of detailed tech.
You know what we're going to talk about.
I know nothing.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Wait, yeah, because if I put plane flight, then what are we going to talk about? Where am I going to get this information from? Well, okay, let me restate that. That wasn't that was too ambiguous. Where do you think the presentation is?
Well, I assume on the website.
Yeah.
On the
There it is. There it is. Yeah.
So,
Oh, not this one. Oh no. Oh, I'm not even gonna bite. I'm not biting. I'm not playing. Brian, all yours. I don't play. I've played this one too long.
yeah, because Adam has a little bit of an issue with this, but he always missed this word right here in this presentation. It's called average.
There's no such thing as average.
Yeah, see, he's always had a problem with that, and he tries to be pedantic and try to get around this, but it's just for the common folk, Adam.
I know. That's why I will go and get another glass of wine and be very quiet and not just be pedant.
I think somebody mentioned it. Brian keeps mentioning it about flight and how it disproves a spheretard. And it's not only Brian. I've heard it a few times late last week and over the weekend. And I said, you know what? On Tuesday, let's just do one. We haven't done this in a long time. Let's just do one on flight, right? And this is one. This is a personal one that I've used. You know, with just you're. I don't want to say average intelligence people, but people that have flown before. I agree with Brian. I don't like to put the proofs, save for the elevation angle argument. I do that because it's so quick, not because it's better than all the other ones. It's just quicker. So I should categorize them that way, the quickness of it. And that's the only reason. I don't think one's better than another. I really don't. A lot of people can relate to different ones based on their, background and just familiarity with each topic. You follow?
Yeah, my thing with the airplanes is there's 10,000 worked examples daily of commercial air flights. And why I like it is because when it comes to this topic, it's a lot more difficult for our opposition to poison the well with someone who's new. Because you can speak to somebody who was just an ordinary everyday person who has been on a plane, and even if they haven't been, everyone, even a homeless person, has a smartphone. And they can look up the details that you're telling them concerning flight.
Sure.
And it's all right there because it has to be. They can't lie about it. Whereas when it comes to celestial navigation, unless you're up on the topic and properly up on the topic, our opposition can poison the well and confuse matters. Whereas with this, they can't. They never have anything. Even their commercial pilots just have ad homs. That's all they have. Wolfie and, well, not so much the rest of them, but mainly Wolfie, just ad homs. Do you know what I mean? So they don't have anything. That's the thing about it. Every day, these things do what they do, and they have to do it in a certain way. And they don't, it's what they don't do. They don't correct for curvature, and they don't correct for rotation. And there's no way around it. And that's why I love it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't muck with the rotation too much. That's a different argument, but you're exactly right. I just stick with the curvature part because it's really a no-brainer, right? It just is. If you've flown across the pond, as they say, and this is a globe killer. It just is. There's no two ways about it. If you if you fly level and flat for any distance, the spheretard's done. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, sorry for stepping on you, QE.
Right.
No, it's true. I have any argument I made concerning aircraft. All I got back was you don't understand an ad homs. That's mainly what I got from Wolfie 6020. Some of the others try to Trevor Austin, another commercial pilot, has tried to give argument, but you can't argue. He can't support that he does something that he doesn't do when he's flying. And that's that. So when it came to the rotation arguments, I got nothing back. When it came, to the curvature arguments, I got nothing back from commercial pilots. That any normal person could read any of the comments and see there's no rebuttal. And when it came to the rotation, I got nothing from the same sources. Because you can't, if I can't claim to do something if I'm doing a job, I can't claim to be doing something I'm not doing. And that's the problem. A commercial pilot can't claim to be correcting for curvature or rotation if they're not correcting for curvature or rotation. Because another commercial pilot, without knowing the context of the question or of what the person is saying, would say, "Why are you talking about? Nobody does that." Without knowing the context, would easily just turn around and say, "No one does that. No, we don't do that. That's not what you do."
Well, we don't need them. We don't need the pilots. Because
no, we don't.
No, but we do. It cracks me up. Through the years, people have put on, YouTube different interviews with pilots just off the cuff, them walking out the plane and them asking the question, well, is the Earth flat? I can't it's in the high 20s or 30s where the pilot was just like, yeah, yes. And just move on like it was nothing. So, and I don't really need him because I know the rate of curvature and the amount of curvature over distance with speed, which that plane must negotiate. There is no way around it. None. They have to negotiate it, period. And you don't need the pilot. You need to fly on the plane. And I'll tell you, and everyone knows this that's flown before, is that if that plane drops 10 or 20 feet, I am well aware of it. What say you?
Yeah, when it's not constant, you notice it.
Yeah,
you notice it. That's what, and the fact that they can use a bubble sextant in an airplane is the proof that airplanes are a constant in how they fly. If they were dropping in altitude, that wouldn't be a constant. It would be a change because if you're dropping or raising in altitude, you're changing in the air pressure, which means that you're going to have friction. So, and you'd feel that throughout the plane. So a bubble sextant wouldn't work with that under those circumstances.
I don't need a bubble sextant. I can tell by my body, and the vestibular apparatus, and you can just tell. It's just intuitive. That's where the Spheritard screwed with this. What do you think about this proof, Betty? You like this one?
Yeah, I was thinking about that other video that you had of the drone that comes up. Remember that?
The drone that comes up and looks at that's more of the rotation argument. It's looking at the moon and the stars.
Yes, but it's sort of combined, isn't it? I mean, nothing changes.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good one. I'm just talking about. I remember that back in 2016, I was talking to my neighbor. This was, like all new, and it came up. The flat Earth didn't come up. I just asked him. I said, "Listen, if the Earth has this certain curvature, right, and with curvature there's drop. See, the Baltards, they kind of forget about one of the cornerstones of their religion. It's a vertical drop." But anyway, I'm talking to him, and I said, over a certain distance, it's even before I put this argument together. I said, over a certain distance, if you're flying flat and level, the ground is going to fall away from you. It's just what it's going to do. This is common sense, right? And for you to stay at that altitude, you have to either dip the nose or you're going to have to drop. Let me put it to you this way. You have to drop an elevation. There's no two ways around it because the ground, the standard, the baseline on what that elevation is based on is dropping away from you. If you don't react to that, guess what? You're going higher and higher and higher. Period. I don't see how that's difficult to understand. But let's go through it. I'm going to show you.
Say, John.
Say again?
Commercial airliners they're not really built to dip the nose. They're not.
I understand that.
built for the air. So the way in which this probably come important later on after we've gone past the cumulative effects of the important statement, which is straight and level flight, because that's how we recognise planes work with their gyroscopes.
Sure.
Inbuilt, that they're programmed to make sure they're maintaining straight and level flight based on the gyroscope. So if we've got that statement, that's important, but it's important to recognise later on, dipping down is one thing that is a way of adjusting your altitude. But these big commercial planes aren't designed really to do that.
I paid, hold on. I paid close attention to the last flight I took. It was 2 years ago, and I was coming back on a commercial flight. I was flying from Chicago to Springfield, Missouri. And, we got up at cruising altitude. When we were getting ready for the descent, I mean, the first, because they do descents in steps. At 30, I think we were at 35,000 feet. You know how they do it in steps, right? Sometimes, most of the time, they do it in 2 or 3 steps. But anyway, my attention was focused on which direction the nose of that plane was. So we all of a sudden started slowing down, and guess what? That tip of that nose dropped. So I understand what you're saying, but on that commercial flight, on that one, it did.
No, I'm not saying that they're not. When that's in the pre-descent, you can, that'll be getting to pretty much level, and it'll be ditching tons of altitude at this point. The other way it does it is slow down, and also just yeah. So the point I'm making is, and you've made it, is if it does tilt forward as well, that's very noticeable, because the way in which these planes fly is with straight and level vectors, okay, which is set by the gyroscopes. Very noticeable if the plane ever noses forwards.
Yes.
And you might, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I knew instantly.
And the amount of altitude you lose during that is like I say, just getting ready for descent. Just when you've really got to trim some altitude off, and then they'll tip it forward. Yeah.
Yep.
But in terms of their main flight, they're not. That's not how they're not designed to fly.
Oh no! I wasn't saying that. No, they're not.
The way in which, in the main flight, they'll trim their altitude is either just ease off, and a reduction in forward motion means a reduction in upward lift, which will reduce altitude, or they'll trim the wings a little bit just to do it.
Yes.
These things are harder to detect. If they are going to do that in straight and level flight, then what you do is you're having to adjust constantly, and that's not what's happening
exactly
in straight and level flight.
Exactly
is the point.
Yep, exactly.
Well, just to give a few basics on it, just for the audience, that to hold 100% positive lift, which is what they need to fly, especially a big commercial airline or any airplane, they have to have, which is the center line of the wings, what's known as the chord line, above horizontal. So that, by proxy, means the nose is also above horizontal. That's why airplanes, commercial airliners at cruising speed, at cruising altitude, will always be +3 to +5 degrees above horizontal. And that is so they can fly horizontally, because they have to be slightly tipped above horizontal at the front to fly horizontally. When they hold the same speed and they tip down a bit, then they're losing a bit of lift and they'll go down. Or if they slow down a lot and bring up the nose, they'll be holding lift but dropping due to they'll be holding lift but dropping due to the lack of thrust. So it's a thrust lift ratio, and that's how it works. But the thing what people should understand is that anything that's below horizontal is officially a descent, because once you bring the chord line of those wings to even 0.5 of a degree below horizontal, you instantly, even with what's known as a camber wing, you instantly will not be holding 100% positive lift. That means you are going down. It's very simple. You can't fly successfully in any way. You can't fly at all, right? If you want to fly at any distance, you can't fly unless the chord line of those wings is slightly above horizontal, and that allows you to fly horizontally. So it's the lift effect they have to work around. So all the big planes are based around the lift effect and how to best structurally hold itself together at the pressures it'll be at, with the pressure, internal pressure, and being able to fly slightly nose up. And it's all designed for that. That's what every plane is designed for that. Even jet fighters will fly at their top speed with their nose slightly above horizontal. Even they can't. As soon as a jet fighter dips its nose below horizontal, it'll still be going very fast, but it's going to be going very fast in a descent, in a depression angle at that point. So it's impossible, due to the lift effect, for them to fly around the globe.
I've put in the BALLBUSTERS on a picture you might want to share, just to accentuate this point that the angle that the plane is facing into the direction of travel is not the vector of straight line path that the plane maintains. So if you, like I say, it's just a simple picture, but you can see the angle. This is just a biplane, not a big commercial jet, but you can see that the incline, the angle of attack into the wind, to keep the altitude correct, because you need a certain amount of upward thrust to maintain your elevation, is so, but the actual path of flight is the yellow line, which is the vector of travel, which is the straight path, which is what we're then dealing with, which is fine over a flat Earth because the two are parallel lines. Just to bring it back to what you were saying, that's not what we're dealing with. If we're claiming with the ball claim, we're dealing with something, bearing in mind that this straight line vector is defined by gyroscopes. So it's set at the point of origin. And as you then traverse this surface, if it's supposedly a ball, that is then gonna fall away. Simply at a rate of 8 inches per mile. So yeah, I'll hand it back to you. That's the kind of the concept.
Yeah. This is slam. We're at slam dunk territory. It's on this website. It's a slam dunk. So let's roll through it. Well, since the Earth is, as we're told, a spheretard of 25,000 miles in circumference, radius 3959, then pilots traveling for 1 hour at a typical cruising speed of 500 miles an hour to simply maintain altitude would constantly have to adjust their altitude downwards to compensate for the curvature and descend on average 2,789 feet every minute. Now that's an average. Remember that. Now, to negotiate the drop, I really don't care. The plane can barrel roll, split S, wing over, tail slide, slow roll, Cuban 8, falling leaf, chandelle, or the hokey pokey, but it must descend. And the most important point on this is I don't really care about the pilot's instruments. Everyone on the plane will know it. This is the key point. Is this clear, spheretards, spherfers? Because you guys just don't get this. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, "What the heck? I don't understand. Isn't it 8 inches per mile?" Or some other stupid arguments. It's not going to work. It just doesn't. And they take offense to the difference between the first example and the second example, and it just throws them into a tizzy. They need to go back and look at their colored tape. So here's the first example. A, how many miles of vertical drop, that's geometric, must be negotiated over a distance of 500 miles on a ball with a circumference of 25,000 miles? The answer is simple, 31.7 miles. Under any circumstances, this amount of vertical drop has to be negotiated. There is no way around it. None. How many feet are in 31.7 miles? Well, that's 167,376 feet. All right. So 167,376 376 feet of vertical drop must be negotiated over 500 miles on the Earth if it's a spheritard. So my real world example, when I put this together, you can gauge when I put it together. I'm traveling by commercial plane from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Atlanta, Georgia for the Super Bowl. And we're right in that lane, right? We're right in the same time. So that's kind of cool. Approximate distance, 500 miles. Typical cruising speed, 500 miles an hour. Do you guys get that? Spheretards. So 500 miles distance at 500 miles per hour equals travel time, I know this is a shocker, of 1 hour. They have a hard time with that. So, question, how many feet of vertical drop per minute on average needs to be negotiated on my trip? Well, that's kind of easy. Total feet vertical drop over that distance, 500 miles, is 167,376 feet. No way around it. The travel time is 1 hour. It's a simple calculation, right? You just put it over minutes. 167,376 feet over 60 minutes. There's your answer, right? For this trip. For longer trips, there's going to be more vertical drop. We'll get to that here in a second.
I've got
hold on.
numbers on that, John.
Say again?
I've just done a couple of numbers just to accentuate that point, because this is a supposed sphere we're traversing over, so a curving surface. So if say we're going 500 miles an hour in the plane, and in 1 minute, we've got about 50 foot drop to deal with. And the ballers will make this apologetics, but we know that the pilot's not adjusting the plane every minute. It stays really calm the majority of the flight. If we take it to 10 minutes, we've not got... It's a little bit bigger. So it should have been like 46 foot, so 10 minutes would be 460. But actually, because this curvature becomes cumulative, after 10 minutes, you should have 578. So that's about another 20% more drop than just...
Yes.
Just assuming. Now, let's think about the average flight. Let's just call it an hour. Now, let me tell you how much drop in that straight hour's flight. That that first hour you're not off, where it's really calm and you're traveling flat and straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you're then suddenly dealing with. And this is the point of cumulative curvature. It's devastating.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Maybe.
Hold up.
Can you change your screen to that webpage?
Oh, sorry about that.
I want to know why you're going to Georgia for the Super Bowl when it's in Arizona.
Because I put this argument together back then, and this is it's in stone. It's on the website, Neil. Yeah, thanks for reminding me to put the other screen back up. So let's go. Question. We'll start in the middle. How many feet of vertical drop per minute on average needs to be negotiated on my trip? So the total feet vertical drop is 500 miles. That's 167,376 feet. Travel time is 1 hour. It's a simple calculation, like I said. 167,376 feet divided by 60 minutes. Right? You need the per minute. That's how you do it. Answer, 2,789.6 feet vertical drop per minute on average must be negotiated. Must be. Not maybe. Must be negotiated by the plane on my trip. Does this happen? Nope. The sphere is a stone cold fairy tale. I can end it right here. It's all over. But I won't. Say again?
I said somebody's in trouble.
Yeah, somebody's in trouble. Somebody has some splaining to do. So, B, this is where it throws them because the drop is different. So, why is it a different drop, QE? Well, ball tard, sphere tard, we're going a longer distance. There's more curvature and more distance. Next block of instruction, how to sit down, then point at a friggin' horse. B, how many miles of vertical drop must be negotiated over a distance of 1,000 miles on a ball with a circumference given of 25,000 miles? Answer, 128.3 miles. How many feet are in 128.3 miles? That's 677,424 feet. So, 677,424 feet of vertical drop must be, again, must be, not maybe or perhaps or well, maybe we should or we think we can. No, it must be negotiated over 1,000 miles on a sphere to Earth, period. World, I'm traveling by commercial plane from Pittsburgh, PA to Dallas, Texas. Approximate distance, 1,000 miles. Typical cruising speed, again, 500 miles an hour. 1,000 mile distance at 500 miles per hour equals a travel time of 2 hours. That's 120 minutes. So, question, how many feet of vertical drop per minute on average needs to be negotiated on my trip? This is a different trip now. It's longer. Total feet vertical drop over 1,000 miles is 677,424 feet. Travel time is 2 hours. Again, it's a simple calculation, right? 677,424 feet divided by 120 minutes. This is where it throws them because there's more feet that needs to be negotiated in vertical drop. This time it's 5,645 feet of vertical drop. That's over a frigging mile per minute average. That must be negotiated by the plane on my trip, period. So I threw it into a modus tollens for you. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If commercial planes travel at 500 miles per hour for 2 hours, that's 1,000 miles over a sphere tard with a radius of 3959 miles, P. It would then have to descend or negotiate 128.3 miles of vertical drop over the course of its journey, Q. Commercial planes do not descend 128.3 miles while traveling at 500 miles an hour for 2 hours, i.e., they fly level, not Q. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere, therefore not P. Alice in Wonderland is more tenable than the ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. The prosecution rests simple. You live in a fairy tale. The end. Questions, comments?
Waiting for Betty.
I'm waiting for Ballers to explain this to me.
I really like that because I'll say something while when Betty comes along, I'll just shut up. So just give me a holler, Betty.
Where's Betty?
I really like that because it's so simple. As long as people pay attention to the word average, if anyone wants to get pedantic, there's no need to. But if you want to get pedantic,
I'm not.
Well, what I do is myself. That argument there is perfect because it can be worked out exactly like that because that is the average. If you want to take the total distance as an average, that is the average drop you have to deal with over that X amount of time. So that distance by that time means this amount of drop on average. Yeah, it's totally for somebody who doesn't know. There's no point in getting too pedantic with someone. For Adam, I understand, right? And for a lot of people, I can understand. But most people just want it simple. And there you go, that's the simple. Well, all you deal with an accumulation of below horizontal pitch. So in my example, the plane on a globe can never only be horizontal. It can never even be above horizontal. It can only be horizontal for 1 second. That's it, 1 second. And after that 1 second, that plane must have an accumulation of below horizontal pitch. So once the plane gets to cruising altitude, it then for 1 second is horizontal. Then after that, it has an accumulation of below horizontal pitch. Now, if you are flying from London to Los Angeles or Los Angeles to London, it's a flight I've taken several times and lots of people take it daily, then that means that on a globe, then you should end up with 87 degrees below your starting horizontal point. That's what you'd have to prove, that the plane is ending up 87 degrees below horizontal from where it started off as. And as we know, all planes fly with the nose and wings above horizontal. So that's the end of that. for the more pedantic, I use that argument. But I also would use the version that QE uses because it's so simplistic.
Betty.
And people forget that for commercial airliners, this isn't such a big problem. When you're driving and piloting an SR-71 doing Mach 3, if you put yourself into a power dive, you're going to overheat your aircraft. If you don't adjust for going up, then you're going to get so high that you're going to run out of oxygen, you're going to flame out your engines.
Thanks, Betty.
Voice has deepened, hasn't it, a little?
Shout out to Shatner's bassoon. Have a pot on me, QE. A pot of what? Thanks for the super chat, man. Pot of what? Pot or
Soup.
pot? Soup.
Soup.
I got soup coming tonight. How do you know? Homemade chicken soup coming tonight. I'll tell you, it friggin' rocks. I already had 2 bowls of it. I got like 8 left to go. It's dreamland fantasy time. Yeah. Yes, sir. Betty. Is she stonewalling us, or did she go off to get some coffee or something? At Starbucks, Dutchland Starbucks.
Maybe she went to Belgium to get coffee.
Yeah, no, she went to Belgium to get fries. Try to defend, put her flag in there and defend that. Right, Betty?
Can you put your modus tolerance back up?
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah, give me a second. Yep.
It's not that I'm not happy.
You're not happy.
It's not that I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of nuances in this. As you've heard me and Brian, and I hope I agreed with you to say it's the magnitude that you need to comprehend what's having to deal with. And then if you want to get into even more technical detail and how you have to describe it, that's my nuance, and that's all it is. It's not decrying the point that over that there's going to be that much drop, okay, with straight and level flight. Which, to address Brian's point, negate that, you need curvature adjusting gyroscopes, which is fundamentally against what a gyroscope is, which is to maintain its rigidity in free space.
Is it fundamentally unsound? Is it a law of identity violation, Adam?
It would seem that, wouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, all I want to do is big up the Black Swan, because if I take the P, I agree with it. It would then have to descend to that. This is where the ballers will give all their multitude of mitigations. This is why I want to say the Black Swan's so solid. There's nothing in the Black Swan's modus tolerance that the ballers can disagree with, or wiggle, or work with.
Yep.
It's just denial of their own religion.
Yep.
This one, like I say, to really batter them, for me, you've got to go into, and Brian alluded to it, that heads-up display, that what is straight and level flight, and that demonstration that gain has consequences if you're traversing a ball, where down is defined not same as your point of origin. It's defined by your relative position front to your point of origin due to your angle change to the center of a presupposed ball. That's how the orientation of down is actually defined as you traverse, and that's what Brian's alluding to there, what I was doing in terms of the gyroscopes, which is the thing that keeps you safe, so then the pilot knows what he's doing. And it's foggy and he can't see, so he knows he's flying straight and level. That's where the detail comes in, and it really destroys the ball. But for me, this is the point where you just comprehend the magnitude, and that's why I gave those numbers early on. It was 166,000 inches, by the way, after an hour, which is, I think, about 14,000 feet. You can see that it's not commensurate. It's not like the same every minute. If
Right.
that pilot suddenly nodded off for an hour, he's got a shed load of altitude to deal with, and he's on the completely wrong flight path. The level of adjustments is just not realistic. And on that, I'd just refer this now to Rob's video. If Droid's listening, he's already in chat. If you just post Rob's video again for people. Look at this and look how radar works, and look at the implications of curvature. He cites one, John, and looking at like fighter jets using fighter radar. So they're scanning at 10,000 feet to see if they can see any other fighter jets at 10,000 feet.
Right.
The reality is at 40 miles away, that's 1.2 kilometers. If another fighter jet would be so far below his radar, he would never see him.
Right.
And he goes into great detail how the radar works. You'll love it. This is the point. The effect of curvature over distance have profound effects on geometry, or supposed geometry in their case.
What my argument is actually the lift effect itself. If I go into the very basis of my argument is the lift effect, because the lift effect makes it impossible to fly any other way but horizontally. So the reason that they have a gyro is that shows them horizontal, but the lift effect is the reason that they have to be above horizontal to fly horizontally. So to fly in any way, they have, like, you can't fly without the lift effect, and the lift effect just does not work over a spherical surface. That's the problem. It can't work over a spherical surface. The lift effect, which is the thing that allows them to fly, without this effect, there was no way they could fly. Without that, they can't fly, and that stops them from being able to fly around a spherical surface. You can only fly horizontally with the lift effect, because if your wings, the chord line, which is the center line of the wings, if that is below horizontal, right, then you have less positive and more negative with most wings, right? Even with a cambered wing, well, I won't go into all that now. Even with a cambered wing, you still start losing positive lift once you're below horizontal, right? So to keep 100% positive lift is what they need to fly. They must be above, the wing chord line of the wings must be above horizontal. Otherwise, you won't have 100% positive lift, which is what's required. But worse again is officially, as soon as you have any pitch below horizontal, officially, according to aerospace, Boeing, everyone, right, officially, you're in a descent. So there's no way around it. The lift effect and the fact that officially you're in a descent when you're below horizontal makes it impossible to do what they would need it to do.
It's an angular change of 0.014 degrees every mile, Brian. It's starting to nose up, and that's what they'd have to be compensating for. If you think of fighter jet, how quick a mile is, it's not realistic that they're all compensating for that. Or how?
Well,
because, like I say, fundamentally, their gyros would be ignoring that. Their gyros would be still fixed in free space. Yeah. So what is level now is no longer level, and after a short amount of time, you'd be so far out, you know what I mean? You wouldn't know up from down, put simply, would you?
Well, I often will use the example of the MiG, the Foxback 25, the MiG Foxback 25, or the MiG 25 Foxbat, sorry. Where even though that's an old plane now, and there's a newer one that flies even faster, I'm not sure what the speed of that is, but the old MiG flew, and this was a Russian fighter jet, flew at 40.8 miles per minute. That means it covers 200 miles in 5 minutes. Now, it can only fly at top speed for about 5 minutes, but that's 200 miles at top speed. Is that pilot?
Half a degree a minute, Brian.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, in the reorientation of down if you're on a ball. Yeah. Half a degree a minute is massive. The aerodynamic changes over 1 minute is half a degree. That's you know what I mean? You can't do it, can you? Got to be it's be impossible to control.
And then, yeah, worse again, if you look at the NASA's X-15, which is the fastest plane of all time, they flew at 6,000 miles or more an hour. It's several Mach. It was the fastest of all time. They flew so fast that if you try to even account for a globe, because of the same was with the MiG, is that if you try to account for curvature of a globe, you would be flying so fast in accordance with your altitude that you would smash into the ground before you could reaccount, if you understand what I mean. You actually couldn't do it because the plane would smash into the ground. You're flying so fast that the altitude, let's say your altitude with the X-15 could be like, I think it was 15 miles or 13 miles in the sky or something like that, whatever it was. If you're flying at several thousand, let's say 6,000 miles an hour, right, and you dip your nose down, right, and you get that wrong in any way or whatever, you go, like, basically, if you look at the trajectory that you are flying at, there's no way you're not going to smash into the ground. I don't have the maths on in my head now, but I did a model before, put me out as a video. Even over a globe, if you tried to fly those speeds, whether it would be the Foxbat 25 or the X-15, you're going to smash into the ground if you try to account for curvature. Because even if it was a globe, you're going so fast you will smash into the ground. It would be impossible to hold a constant altitude. Because what you're trying to correct for is changing every second for you. And you just end up smashing into the ground because, like, what's let's say the X-15 was flying at 18 miles high. What's 18 miles high if you're going at 6,000 miles an hour? You're going to cover 18 miles in no time. You know?
Huey,
yes, sir.
I've put in the chat just a couple of pictures. If you could maybe share them.
In Discord chat?
Yeah. Just to exemplify the point for people. So what we're not talking about here is altitude anymore. Let's just ignore that. What we're talking about is traversing spherical surface and what down means. And the first picture that will come up, just tell me when it's up, QA. I won't wait for it on my screen.
It's up.
Yeah. The first one just shows you that if you're flying across a flat Earth, flat level plane, then down is the same vector at the start of your journey, in the middle of your journey, at the end of your journey. Put up the next picture for me. This is now traversing over a supposed sphere. Down will change. You are travelling in a straight line vector defined by your gyroscope. It's straight. And it's not bending to anything. It's a straight line. Straight and level flight, as has been discussed. The surface is curving away at a rate of 8 inches per mile. And this is what the numbers me and Brian are talking about. At 1.5 degrees is your Superchat fighter thing, Bri, after a minute. Now, Bri, if you'll fill in after this, what's important here, other than the reality of redefining down, which is never reaccounted for, because the only way you can do that is to realign the plane, okay, which would mean realigning the gyroscope, because level is no longer level. Gyroscope would show pitching up. But the point Brian's making is to do really the aerodynamics of this. When we're flying across the first picture, that level plane, the aerodynamics are the same. Yeah? They're constantly adjusting. And the point we're making is 1.5 degree tilt difference in that plane, that supersonic plane, after a minute is immense with regards to its aerodynamics. It'd just fall out the sky. If the and this is important, it's not a faux pas, the atmosphere it's flying through is changing because it's an atmosphere, and the aerodynamics would change fundamentally. Take it away, Bri. Maybe you can put more detail on that.
Well, no, Adam, what you did with, that's one of the 5 things I have as proofs connected to, I think it was 5 or 6 things I have that are proofs connected to air travel. And what you did with the accelerometer was excellent. Nobody thought of that. You used the accelerometer to show that there isn't a change in the direction of down, which there has to be over a spherical surface, because down isn't down, it's to the center. There is no down, it's all in to the center point. of a globe. So you showed that that didn't happen. Whereas not only did that, the reason that didn't happen is because they can't do it. Because they can't do it because the lift effect won't allow it. Like the only wing, as I said earlier, is the cambered wing. That will allow them to hold more positive lift when the wings are below horizontal than any other wing. But you still don't have 100% positive lift once your chord line goes below that. You're still losing positive lift. And it's officially a descent. So the point is that, especially if you're flying in a fighter jet, let's not even go to the X-15. Let's just say a normal fighter jet. You're talking about, you could be going Mach 2 or Mach 3, something like that, but you're going very fast, or even the Concorde, right? Any change in your orientation below horizontal is going to be extremely noticeable. No, because gyroscopes don't change. They just hold the same rigidity. They show horizontal. That's what they do. That's the point of them. They don't change. Just because you have a world belief that it's not flat doesn't mean that gyroscopes are going to change what horizontal is every 2 miles. They're not going to do that. So the change that needs to happen for it to be a globe would be pitch changes that don't happen, which is why I've asked and tried to get the official pitch data from some commercial flights, and I can't get them. Even my friend's friend, who's a captain in Europe, he's a captain. He's gone past being a normal pilot. He's now a captain for a big airline, and he can't get it. He can't get the pitch data for me. So it's bizarre. If like the pitch data is such simple data, why won't they give it to us? They won't give it to us because they know why it will show, and it won't show a globe because it can't. The lift effect makes it impossible for planes to fly over a globe. Can't be done.
Their pitch data would match my accelerometer data, which was
exactly
straight and level flight. Yeah, there was no reorientation.
Yeah.
At any point.
Yeah. Shout out to Betty, who's back now. She got frozen up. Oh, Betty.
I'm off for coffee.
You're off for coffee. You've been off for the past 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Well, we were trying to acquiesce your presence in a fervor.
Why?
We wanted your opinion on the presentation. I immediately, right after the presentation was done, went, well, Betty, what do you think? Guess what we got?
Well, if your computer freezes, you know what that's like?
Yeah, I understand that, but you were acting like that we didn't hardly miss you, which was that's just untrue.
Well, maybe you can sort of call in from time to time, right?
I did. Right after the presentation, I called in.
Yeah, afterwards. There's a long thing afterwards.
It
right?
wasn't a long thing afterwards. It was a short.
It was a second.
It was a short presentation.
And then I won't intervene when the guys are talking.
Betty, we only missed you for 30 seconds. That's what he's saying.
Exactly.
No. We started by saying, I want Betty to go first, yeah? Then QE was worried. He said, Adam, Phil, I'm going to ring a neighbour and make sure she's okay.
Oh, that's that call that I got.
Yeah, see?
So what are you saying, Betty? Are you saying inside the presentations that I give that every, like, I don't know, 90 seconds I should say, Betty, what do you think?
There was a lot of talk about after the presentation until now, right?
Yeah, there was, but it started out with trying to. It started out with you.
And if people are talking, I won't interrupt. I'm not doing that.
I understand that, but there was the first query was to you, just to let you know.
Well, if my computer freezes, I don't have anything to say about any presentation that I didn't see.
Well, that's yeah, I understand. See, you're trying to switch the subject again. Don't do that. That's a red herring fallacy. The most important thing here
Oh
is
my
that
God, I'm going to point me out on fallacies?
we reached out to you initially, not the point that you didn't. Your computer was frozen. It's the fact that
This is tedious.
It's the
I want my coffee.
Oh boy, it's a rough one out here.
Yep.
Okay, do we have a super chat before you go get your coffee? You want to do the super chat?
Do you want me to do the super chat?
I do.
Okay. Well, we got angle of elevation, and he says there is no internal mechanism to distinguish if we move slightly left or right. But if we go up or down, our vestibular systems goes on alert.
No,
No.
I don't think that's correct, sir.
Left and right makes feel too, right?
The cochlea is aligned in 3 dimensions.
Yes.
If you move left and right as well, then the villi will still be stimulated. But to tell you that you're moving left and right as opposed to up and down.
Yes. It's in 3 dimensions. I think you might be just a touch off their angle of elevation. I see where you're going for, but yeah, I think that's
Maybe
incorrect.
up and down is more like it because we do feel I don't want to call it, but maybe I should call it gravity. You feel the pressure on you when you're going up all of a sudden, like in an elevator. You feel that you're going upwards or downwards, but left and right. Well, maybe if you are sort of free from a certain sturdy ground underneath your feet, left and right doesn't make much sense.
Ooh, Betty, question for a girl. So you go in the elevator or you go over a bump like a fly. Does your prostate? Well, I would say you get a feeling in your lower abdomen, like I'd call it your prostate fizzes. You girls get a fizz downstairs if you do that.
Wait a second. She was laughing. I didn't get to hear all that. What the?
No.
What angle was this again, Adam?
What about getting a little feeling in if you're in an elevator or something? And like if you go over a hump and you're going fast on roads, you get a little prostate fizz. Well, that fizz me prostate. That a little buzz.
What the hell?
And you asking a woman this? Why?
Girls get that. I'm going to ask my wife when I go after this.
It's getting to be a more private thing, to be honest.
My prostate is a very private thing.
I liked how he said girl. How to say that girl again? You said it really nice. I liked it.
Girl.
Gal. See, I say girl, but you said girl. I think I like that better.
I have to go. I'll talk to you later. I'm sorry, I can't stay for the rest of the show. Thanks for having me on.
Back to potato mines. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Yep.
I'll chat to you later. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yep. All right, Betty, did you leave for your coffee or you can't answer Adam's question appropriately?
Why would I need to answer that? Sort of. I don't even know what the question is.
Ask her again, Adam.
If he wants to know that I feel it in my prostate, no, I don't.
Of course you don't. Go on.
Don't ask.
Do you get a fizz in your belly though?
Yes, of course. And in my head. I kind of like it. I kind of like the roller coaster effect of those things. Yes. But I was once in an elevator in Rotterdam, and it's a really high up thing, and it went so fast that it makes you queasy. Right? It's too. Sometimes it can be too fast. No?
I weren't bothered about where the elevator was. I was more interested in where the fizz was. When a girl.
Yeah. No, my belly was
above or below your belly button.
behind the belly button, I think.
Near your bum.
Near your bum.
Unless I would sort of fall flat on it after the bump.
If I said the word perineum to you, I'd be way off the mark.
She isn't going to know where that is.
Oh, yes, I do.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I got some reasonable terminology of medical terminology. Yes,
Yeah.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
It's
point?
not there that I feel it now, Adam. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sexualize this.
That wasn't. That's where I described my little fizz.
I understand, but you asked me where it is, and I didn't say that it was there for me.
I know.
As a girl?
Smaller place.
That's why you guys like bumpy rides, don't you?
Oh, brother. Now it goes down the tubes.
Who started it, Johnny?
Johnny!
You started it.
Yeah, he did. All right.
Yeah, the women get the name, right? But the men are sort of the ones that are asking for it.
Here we go with the men and the women again.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's not a thing. And we're gonna wrap it up.
And you were pretty woke already.
Yeah, I am woke. I've been woke for a long woke time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts. Got to get out of here. There's stuff I got to do.
Coffee.
Coffee.
You
Get your,
he got out of here in a hurry.
yeah, he did. You can get your coffee here in a second.
That's my final thought. My final thought is coffee.
Your final thought was coffee. That was it. Adam, what's your final thought?
I haven't done the panel yet. You got to run down the list.
Peritoneum. No, we're not running down the list today. I've got stuff I got to do. Oh, you like that?
Well, my final thought then is to remember that reversing across a ball, curvature is cumulative, and the further you travel, it stops being 8 inches per mile. The second mile is more than 8 inches. The third mile is a lot more. The fourth mile even more. Yeah, this is incremental increases. You describe it as 8 inches per mile squared in that approximation for a reason, because it's a non-linear function. Yeah? To match the shape. Okay. The further you travel, the more this impacts. You might be able to blank the effects out over the first mile or so. At high speed, these effects need to be compensated for, and as I hope you've seen, they're not compensated for, whether that be altitude or orientation. Great flat Earth proof.
Outstanding, Adam. Thank you very much. Thanks, Betty. Thanks, everyone in the group. Don't know where we're going to go this week. There's no BALLBUSTERS on Saturday, that's for sure, because I got to help move my daughter. Hopefully she sticks with the agenda this time. So let me give it a think. See if I can't. You might get a surprise this week. Then again, you might not. So we'll just keep it. Just be flexible. Remember, the topic of today, the other day, was flexibility. So just stay flexible out there, and make sure you use this argument for the NPCs, the flight argument. It's really, just go to my website if you're a little bit unsure. It's a painfully simple proof that the sphere tard does not exist. It must be flat. All right, guys. Hope it helps. Remember, always remember this. I'll be back.